Subtracting mixed numbers. Most common thing kids like to do is to turn them into improper fractions. Don't do it that way. Make sure you take notes on the next few problems that we're doing, and just solve your problems this way. It will make it a lot easier. So have some paper out, and you need to write down all of these examples. Here we go. Okay, now we're going to do some subtraction problems. You may have learned in the past when you're adding, subtracting mixed numbers to turn them all into big improper fractions. That is another method that you could do. I'm not going to teach you that method because I think actually it's sometimes a little bit more time consuming, and I feel like when kids do that they make more mistakes. If that is your method to do it, awesome, go for it. But try these a couple times too, because maybe you'll notice that you might like it better. If not, if your method works, that's awesome. Okay, common denominator in this case, 15 times 3 times 3. Okay, so up here we get 10. And be careful, now we are subtracting. So if we subtract our numerators, 10 minus 6, we get 4. Same denominator. And then subtract your whole numbers to get 2. This one was fairly easy. We didn't have to do any extra steps. But now I'm going to give you one where if it didn't work out so well, notice it's pretty much the same number except I switched the denominators. Now one's on the top, one's on the bottom. So we know that this is times 3, 15, and times 5. So it's the same thing that we got in the last problem. But now, hopefully, you've noticed something. If you subtract your numerators, I hope you don't say that the answer is 4, because you do not want to do 6 minus 10. That would be a negative 4. We don't want negative. So you have to borrow, since you can't subtract 10 from 6 in this case. So you're going to borrow from the whole number over here. That whole number, you borrow 1, so it turns into a 5. And now to borrow 1, you could just put a big 1 there. That's great. What you can't do is this. You can't just give this 6 a 1 and make it a 16. That you can't do. Horrible. Don't do it. Big no-no. It would be bad. So when you want to loan this fraction of 1, here's one of the easiest ways so you don't make that confusion. Make the 1 look like a fraction. So you need to think, well, what types of fractions look like 1? What types of fractions are equal to 1? So any kind of fraction that would have the same numerator, the same denominator. These are all examples of fraction, not that one, of fractions that equal 1. So, beep, beep, beep. Over here, you really want to add 1. You want to have a common denominator. So we're just going to add 15 fifteenths. So the 1 that we borrowed from this is now this. We're going to add it on right now. So if you add that on, 6 plus 15 equals 21 fifteenths. So now you are taking this 21 fifteenths, and now you can subtract 10 fifteenths. So 21 minus 10 equals 11. And then now subtract the whole numbers. 5 minus 4 is 1. Another common mistake I always see kids make, they forget to cross this out and take 1 away, and then their whole number's wrong. So here's my final answer, 1 and 11 fifteenths. Okay, try this one. This one's a little different because you have a whole number and there's no fractions up here. So you want to make sure you get some fractions right there, because you can think of this as nothing is there. That's like 0, and you don't want to do 0 minus 7/12 because you'd get a negative number. So we need to borrow. We're going to borrow from the 15. We're going to borrow 1, and you could just put a 1 there, but you wanted to leave it as a fraction because you want to subtract fractions. So the one that I'm going to do is 12/12. The reason I'm doing 12/12 is if you look closely, my denominators are now the same, and I didn't have to do anything. So now you can do 12 minus 7. That gives you 5. And 14 minus 4 equals 10. Probably one of the most common mistakes kids do make on a problem like this. First thing they do is they just bring 7/12 down here. And that's their answer. Don't do that. Boo. Bad. No. You need to make sure you borrow over here. Give a fraction. Okay, so again, the final answer should be 10 and 5/12. One more for you. Oh, before we do this, I have a joke for you. And you have to write what you think the answer is on the top of your paper. So here's the joke. What is black and white and red all over? You got it? What is black and white, red all over? Put what you think the answer to that joke is on the top of your paper. We'll see if you can get it. All right, back to this. So, common denominator, not as hard as the other ones. I'm whizzing through these by now. Hopefully you noticed that you have a 2 and a 3, and you cannot subtract those, so you need to borrow. Borrow from the 47. I'm just going to borrow 1. So again, you don't put the 1 there. Don't do that. You want to give this a 1, so that in this case, the fraction that is equal to 1 that I'm going to use. You could do 2 seconds, but that wouldn't work because it's not a common denominator. So I would do 6/6. This is the 1 that you want to add on. You can kind of think of it as a gigantic 1. So if you add these up, you get 8/6. Now I can subtract this fraction from this fraction. So 8 minus 3, I get 5/6. Then you go back over to your whole numbers. 46 minus 26, I get 20. Everything is in lowest terms. That's just great. All right, are you ready for the answer to the joke? Because here it is. Black and white and red all over. All right, have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.